once again, but I think that's kind of what we're accustomed to. I mean, everybody would love to have some of those, games maybe we had last year, even maybe, the comfortability of how we were at Marshall in some ways. But tonight was a challenge. I mean, that's a very good football team that we beat over there. I know that nobody really recognizes that maybe about their record as a 2-4, 2-5 now, but that's a good football team. And they challenged us in every way, offensively, defensively, special teams. Throughout the entire week, I was worried. And I don't mean I was worried that we couldn't handle ourselves, but I thought that was a lot better football team. I was hopeful that our guys would understand and believe that from what they see on the film and not listen to maybe some of the outside. But we were challenged. We were challenged in a lot of ways. And at halftime, I wasn't quite sure where we were. And the same thing again. You kind of challenge them to go out here and want to see if we'll run together because there's some things that happened in that first half that defensively you felt pretty good. Offensively, you just couldn't find a rhythm. But I was curious to see if we'd go out and run together. And I'm so proud of these guys, their ability to come out, especially the second half, and run together. Nobody I'm more proud of than Jared Dokes. He's an example in that locker room of what you can do when you never drop your head and never kind of give in, whether it's injuries, whether it's not an opportunity to play as much as you'd like to. Knowing you have ability, knowing you have talent, there's just got to be some chance. Sometimes opportunities got to come your way. And he's an example to everybody in that locker room. And I think that if anything, I could say that this game showed not just our colors, but colors of Jared Dokes, and he's the reason I think we're sitting right here happy right now.
Questions? Can you pinpoint the offensive struggles in the first half?
No, that's a good defense. It's different. I mean, you don't see a whole lot of that front and those looks. And when you kind of, I knew that kind of all week, just saying, we don't see this. This isn't normal. And I don't just mean, the size of them or their athletic ability, but just the difference in some of the things that they do. A lot of guys off the ball playing a lot of 3-3 things, kind of forcing you to try to think you can run lateral, but there's a lot of guys that, are off the ball, a lot of 8-man drop. So our opportunities to take shots down the field were few and far between. We had to really be disciplined to, kind of pound it a little bit more and not get worried about, getting the shots down the field that we're accustomed to doing.
You talked about coming to the last season that Dokes was the best player on the offense that you had and had the injury and everything. Did you feel like it was a matter of time before he
Yeah, but it's so hard. I mean, today there's so many opportunities for these guys to, I'm not saying to give in, but to take another route, and he hasn't done that. He's always been positive. He's obviously missed all last year. Was something we really didn't know what he had. And then he comes back and plays in the first game and really has a pretty significant knee injury, and wears a big brace for a while, and and sitting back there with Mike Warren is a guy that everybody knows that we got to get more touches to, and Mike's got to get a guy that gets going. He's not a 2 or 3 carry guy then get a sub, and so that's hard. But his attitude, his ability to keep pushing, his ability to care about his teammates. He's an incredible example to our locker room and why we're where we are. And I don't just mean because of his play today, but I mean because of that example that a lot of our guys have and have been to continue to run together.
You said halftime, I wasn't sure where we were. What do you mean by that?
I just mean the energy and the momentum in here. There was almost like we were in a little bit of shock. When we were accustomed to moving the football. Even last week, we went at a halftime. Offensively, I think we moved the football, not at ease, but I mean, we moved it really well last week. And then I think we kind of stuttered or sputtered a little bit. Sometimes you get out to a little bit of a lead and you relax. I don't think, even though we had 10 points, I don't think we had a whole lot of answers. And then defensively, we had a bunch of guys that were hurt, and you kind of were sitting in here, you're kind of looking around, and there wasn't a buzz and an energy. But I think what I didn't recognize was there was a confidence. So I didn't overlook that there wasn't a buzz and an energy and somebody kind of, getting some people rolling. But I did sense as we walked back out there and started playing the third quarter and the fourth, what I didn't probably give them enough credit for is the confidence they have in themselves and each other.
13 turnovers in the last 3 games. Is that being opportunistic, or what is that a testament to?
They work at it. But I think it's more comfort, and I think that when you play a lot of man coverage like we do, people would say, well, your job in man is to deny your man the ball, not to get picks, not to get interceptions. That's not your job. When you become good at what you do, you become a lot more aggressive. So even though you're sometimes playing man, you have the ability to get more aggressive, to go get a ball and say, I'm not just going to deny my man the ball, I'm going to deny my man the ball, and then I'm going to take an opportunity and a shot at it as well. And I think some of those things are showing up, as well as I think the energy. I think the guys flying to the football, I think we ended up with 3 fumbles. And if you look last year, I think we were probably really, really low, not just in turnovers, but especially in fumbles. And I think, we're putting some shots on backs and really trying to make an emphasis to rake at balls. And when they pop out, we got an opportunity to get them. There were a few more that were on the ground. We could have had a couple others. But 5 turnovers in one game is huge.
The 4th down call, was that you wanted to be aggressive and with the game?
Well, you were questioning it or something?
I'm curious.
Yeah. And again, there's a lot of things you take into consideration. 4th and 2, my confidence in the guys. We had a chance to get it. We're also on the 10-yard line. You're up 4. You kick it, then you got to kick off. They get the ball to 25. They still are a big play team. Defense is playing well. If it doesn't happen, you still got them backed up on the, on the 10-yard line. You got confidence in the defense as well. So I never looked back. Said it from when it was 3rd down. I said, hey, you get within 2, we're going for this thing. Let's continue to fight and continue to pound, and that's who we are.
You talked about the depth, but Hicks, Ponder, Brown, guys that didn't do it last year, and maybe people wouldn't expect them to do it this year.
That's what you're proud of. When you asked, how you guys going to be defensive line wise, I think that was the one area going into spring last year. Okay, you lost Marquise Copeland and Cortez Broughton. Not only were they, 90% of the interior, productivity, they were really big leaders for us too. And I mean that in practice. I mean that in every day. And those guys' ability to, not just 2 of them. I mean, we lost. Who was out? Jabari Taylor was dinged up. I don't know when it happened, but we lost him today and never got him back. And he's a big part of that as well. So those guys had to step up. That's probably the reason they cramped up a little bit at the end with Brooks, because he's not used to probably playing as many because of our rotation. But those guys have done a phenomenal job.
What was the reason for bringing Cole Smith out for that first field goal in the first quarter?
I think you saw the reason. He's got a big leg. He's good. He's going to be really good. He's a little bit more of our longer distance guy, as opposed to if the ball's inside of more of a 40-yarder. So it was great for him. It was great to get him an opportunity to get out there, and obviously for him to deliver.
Was it the players that stood up in halftime, or maybe this time you?
No, that's what I said. It really wasn't anybody. It wasn't like there was anybody that stood up and said a whole lot. I just, there was, like I said, it was a little bit quieter, and that's what I was kind of not sure about. And then I realized it wasn't, that they needed to spark somebody. It was, I think they really believed they had the confidence in what they were going to go out there and do. And that's what, so we went back out there and started playing, that's what I saw a little bit more in the eyes. And I wasn't positive, but it didn't take me long to realize what, maybe I was misreading. Because they got a lot of confidence in what they're doing. They got a lot of confidence in each other. Good. Thanks.